Hello everyone and welcome to round 1 of the Nebula rFactor F1 2015 Championship. We're here in Australia today in Melbourne going around Albert Park Street Circuit. This track is actually very technical and will obviously require a lot of skill from the drivers. There's been a lot of testing through the pre-season. It seems a lot of new drivers are coming into this season actually with a chance of taking the championship, and new teams of course. We're going around for 29 laps to this Grand Prix, 145.78 kilometres that will be, 16 corners in total to this track, so it offers not a lot of opportunities for overtaking. The tyre options for this track will be the wets, intermediates, softs and mediums. Last year's podium was in fact the test race, so that the results aren't quite as accurate as we would like them to be, but Callum Knighton won that anyway. Craig Baxter came second, Sam Markham rounded out the podium in that one. The championship is obviously not affected yet due to this being round 1. Commentators will be myself, Craig Baxter and Matt Shepherd for this race. I will now hand you over to Justin, who will give you the qualifying commentary of the pole position lap.
So coming down the long start-finish straight now to start the lap and approaching top speed. Spot the braking point for turn 1 on the left at around the 100 meter board before slamming down on the brakes and moving quickly back on the throttle through the flat-out turn 2 and the run down towards the popular overtaking location at turn 3. Again, braking at about 100 meters for one of the slowest parts of this Albert Park circuit. Craig gets it all slowed down and nails the apex before flicking the car back to the left for turn 4. Slight lift off the throttle and straight back on it for the short run down to turn 5. Flat out through turn 5 in one of the fastest corners on the circuit. Braking for turn 6 around 75 meters as late as you dare. Very easy to run wide at the exit and find yourself in the gravel, but carrying speed is important. Another heavy braking zone at turn 9, braking just after the 100 meter board for another one of the slowest corners on the track, but very important because of the long run down towards turns 11 and 12, arguably the best corners of the circuit and a favorite amongst the drivers. A quick jab of the brakes and a downshift will get you into the corners, but courage and skill will get you through them in a timely fashion. Another flat out section now on the run down towards turn 13, braking just after the 100 meter board for yet another heavy braking zone. Get the car turned in and straight back on the throttle for the very short run down to turn 14. Like turn 11, turn 14 is just a dab of the brakes and a downshift, carrying lots of speed. Braking now for the penultimate corner, sacrifice a bit at the exit of the corner to give yourself a better run through the final corner, and then it's flat out to the finish line for a 125.200 for Craig Baxter.
Thank you, Justin. Great commentary as always. I'm Sam Carpenter and I'm going to be taking you guys through the grid walk here in Australia. Craig Baxter on pole with a 125.2, running on the soft tyre as is the majority of the field. Most importantly, hoping to maintain that lead through turn 1 in the first few corners and also maintain that position for the rest of the race. Sam Carpenter in second in the Williams with the 125.4, hoping to stay in that position and is not too far off in terms of time. Hoping to possibly take the lead at turn 1, but also has to defend from a lot of quick drivers behind him. Fred Borden in third, Craig Baxter's teammate lining up in third with 125.896. Once again, trying to capitalise if any of the two in front of him make a bad getaway, and also trying to defend from this guy, Liam Mangan in fourth in the McLaren with a 127.3, lining up just ahead of his teammate. Liam, not a newcomer to the league, and should be able to keep a level head in the first few corners here in Australia. Now on to Mikael Dolfsson in the McLaren, lining up in 5th place next to his teammate with a 127.416 on the soft tyres. The Sweden, the McLaren, hoping to keep it clean through the first few corners as he is a newcomer to the league. Now, Scott Davidson in the Toro Rosso, a lot of quick drivers in front of him, but also a lot of quick drivers behind him, sort of caught up in the middle, so might find himself maybe getting into a little bit of trouble at the start of the race here, but of course hoping not to and hoping to get a clean first few corners. Now onto Max Shepherd in 7th place with a 129.1, so quite a long way off the leaders now as we head towards the rear of the field. Hoping to gain some positions as he's a very strong driver and maybe hoping to get up there in that top 5. Now onto Richard Taylor in 8th in the Sauber, also a very strong driver, so these two seem to be slightly out of position here and we'll be hoping to pull away from these guys behind them, but there are still some more guys out of position behind them as well. So now into 9th place, the manor of Zesty Antoniou, I hope I pronounced that correctly, with a 129.859. Comfortable with the league and the drivers in it. He should be comfortable at the start of the race and throughout it too. Jakub Majewski, hopefully I pronounced that right, in the Sauber in 10th place with 129.995 towards the rear of the field. Hoping to improve his pace throughout the race as he's not really up to speed or got to grips with the mod yet. Now moving towards the rear of the field, Jesper Dulika in the Lotus, lining up 11th place with a 1:30.251. The American hoping to make up some positions, but is a newcomer to the league, so will not be confident probably at the start of this race. Now Tom Martinez lining up in 12th place, starting on the medium compound tyre. The first of the two Mercedes at the back of the field, very, very strong, and will be hoping to come way through the field throughout this race, and has been setting consistent 25s in practice. Kieran Chadwick also with no time set, a very, very quick driver winning the test race in Jerez, and so we'll be hoping to possibly even get a podium here at Australia, so we'll see how that goes for him. Callum Knighton in 14th place, bringing up the rear of the field in the Mercedes, running on the soft tyre, and contrary to his teammate, came second in the test race at Jerez, so keep an eye on him. Now I'm going to hand you back over to your two main commentators, Craig Baxter and Max Shepherd, for the start of this race.
Thank you for the grid walkthrough, Sam. The cars, as you can see, are just finishing off their formation lap, getting their tyres and brakes up to temperatures for the start of this Australian Grand Prix. We're waiting for the lights to go on before the race can get underway, and I've just heard that one of the cars will actually be starting from the pit lane as he couldn't make it to the grid on time. You can see him on the left-hand side of your screen. You can hear the cars start to rev their engines as we now await for the red lights to go out. A Sauber's actually jump-started. Craig Baxter's got off to a really good start. Sam Carpenter in second, under attack from Fred Bodden, who's in third. He's going to go for a move right the outside. There's a lot of cars locking up their brakes. Fred Bodden's locked up and into the gravel for Sam Carpenter, still in P2 then. You can see Fred Bodden down into 9th place. He's already under attack from the Mercedes of Tom Martinez, and you can see that's the other McLaren coming down into turn 3.
And there's contact there, and that is the McLaren, and Williams also spinning out there. Is that Max Shepherd spinning out? I think that was actually Sam Carpenter still at the front of the pack, so Williams getting taken out there, and the Sauber, I think is that Richard Taylor going wide?
Richard Taylor was one of the people who was hit in that ordeal in turn 3 there. You can see another Sauber's actually off the track. That's Jacob Majewski, so Richard Taylor and Max Shepherd were the two that get caught up, I think, in that collision in turn 3, and I also think that Michael Adolfsson is out of the race. What do you think of that collision then, Matt?
I think it was just the McLaren going far too. He was just braking far too late, and obviously at the start of the race, the brakes are going pretty cold, and they won't work as effectively after they basically start the race. So I think it was just a misjudgment on his part. I think it's definitely McLaren's fault.
Yeah, Craig Baxter leading into the penultimate corner then for the end of lap 1. Sam Carpenter right on the back of him though, not letting him get away early in this race. I think Sam Carpenter's looking to make a move early so he can dictate the pace of this race as Craig Baxter leads at the end of lap 1. Sam Carpenter in second. Scott Davison's made up 3 positions, is now in 3rd place. Liam Mangan in 4th place, so he's managed to hold on to his position. Callum Knighton up into 5th place, which is an incredible start from him from P14. You can see he's looking for a move down the inside of Liam Mangan into turn 3 here as he tries to hold it round the outside. Got better traction in the outside line, trying to hold it round the inside, squeezes Liam Mangan onto the curb, and that's a really great move there from Callum Knighton.
Yeah, it was a great start from Callum there, coming right back from 14th all the way up to now 4th. I think he sort of got away with that accident at turn 3, got through it cleanly, and that sort of gave him a few places as well. Mack in front of him, and also the McLaren, they got taken out, so he's gained places just a bit due to luck, but as well as his own skill, to be honest.
Yeah, he managed to avoid the incident. You can see Fred Bodden already looking to gain the positions he lost in turn 1, running deep into the gravel on the back of Liam Mangan, who I think's just let Fred Bodden through there. I wonder if that McLaren's having any issues, but he's left himself open to Tom Martinez coming down the inside, taking the inside line. The McLaren's ran wide, so I do wonder if he's having some technical issues.
I think he just let Fred pass. He definitely went off the throttle, but I don't know if he actually wanted to let the Mercedes pass. It looked like just a misjudgment from his part, but that is Tom, I think, up into 3rd or 4th now, so...
Tom Martinez is running in 5th position, I think that is now, yeah.
So the Mercedes actually got a very good start. Is that 4th and 5th now? So right from the back of the grid, so...
Is pretty impressive. You can see Michael Adolfsson coming into turn 3 in the replay of the incident on lap 1 then, just completely missing his braking point, hit into the back of Richard Taylor which ultimately sent him into Max Shepard. You can see Michael Adolfsson with really bad damage to the steering column of that car, and you'll see it from Max Shepard here. I wonder, you might see the car come from the inside. Max Shepard took a wide line to try and avoid any incidents, but unfortunately that was what ended up getting him spun around. Luckily he can still continue with this race though.
Yeah, there's nothing he could do at that point in time. He was taking a wide line just to avoid the Sauber on the inside, but just very unlucky there. But we're on board Mac now. He's on the back of Kieran Shadwick. He's going to have a look around the outside, locked his brakes slightly. He's going to get a better line through this corner now, and hopefully he'll have a good run coming into the faster chicane. But he's got a lot of straight line speed there, and he's right past Kieran already before the corner, so it's a relatively easy pass there coming into the chicane now.
Yeah, Kieran's on those medium tyres, but I also think it's not just a combination of having better traction out of the previous turn. Is Kieran going to go for a move down back the inside? No, he's backing off, just not close enough. This pack here is fighting for the last podium position. Scott Davison under attack from Callum Knighton, who's already looking to get onto the podium, and it's only the end of lap 3. Callum Knighton going to look to the inside, braking later and just making that move look easy. Scott's going to try and come back down the inside as he into turn 3. I think that Mercedes just seems to have a better package all around here.
Yeah, he definitely had a very easy time out braking Scott into turn 1. I'm not sure if Scott just braked too early or if he just decided to let Callum through, but he's actually gone very wide through there. He's had a bit of a tank slapper on the exit of turn 4, and he's now being hounded by Fred Bodden in the red Ferrari. So I think Fred will be trying to get past very quickly in order to catch up to Cal.
Yeah, there's also, you should note that there's 3 boost modes in this mod this year. You have boost mode 1, boost mode 2 and boost mode 3. 1 is the quickest but will use the most fuel and also damage the engine the most as well. Boost 2 obviously uses a little less fuel and damages the engine a little less. Boost mode 3 uses hardly any fuel, but at the same time it's very, very slow. So it's trying to balance that out between the race, save fuel, start on lighter fuels to begin with, and then maybe be lighter for the start of the race, but at the end you might need to save. So you're going to see different strategies from different teams here for this Grand Prix. What do you think is the best way to approach it?
Well, I think you want a mix of starting on quite a lot of fuel, but also not overfueling your car. You need to find the right spot, to be honest. If you want to run boost 1 for quite a lot of the race, you're obviously going to run heavy at the start, but then again at the start you're going to be a lot slower. So it's all about finding the right balance, to be honest.
Yeah, a lot of teams have been testing during pre-season, although there was a lot of people who were unable to complete that race in Jerez. But Scott Davison then on to lap 5, he's back down to his original starting position as he runs wide, struggling with get to grips with his car as he's off and into the barrier. He's lost his front wing and hopefully he doesn't take out Liam Mangan. He's down into 7th place and I don't know if he'll be able to get that car back to the pits. It looks to be in a really bad way.
It's unfortunate to have an accident in the first sector. You've got to get a very long way around the track now. Is the Marussia, has that also got damage, or is no, it's just the front wing. Yeah, it's very unfortunate to have an accident that early in the lap because you've got to go all the way back around the circuit. And
that Toro Rosso, I think, is on fire. That Toro Rosso is on fire.
Yeah, he's definitely on fire. So he's blown his engine, I think, and I think that's his race over.
I think the impact from hitting the wall must have damaged the engine, and there's no way that he'll be able to get back to the pits now, never mind even start the race. So there is a possibility that there will be very few overtakes in the first set there due to the yellow flags being out there. But we now go on board with Sam Carpenter. You can see he's about 2 seconds behind Craig Baxter. So Craig Baxter's extending the gap then from Sam. You can see it's visually increasing on lap 6 of this Grand Prix. Sam Carpenter just making sure Craig Baxter doesn't get too far ahead of him because he might be trying to go for the undercut at the pit stops because the tyre strategies here aren't varied, so a lot of people would just be doing the one stop.
And you can see the gap that these two have in front of the rest of the pack. It's maybe 5 or 6 seconds at this point in time, so they pulled out a huge gap to the cars behind, and I think that's just because you've had people behind just battling and the front two haven't been battling at all. But Jacob Majewski, is he going to get lapped by Max Shepard, or is that a legitimate overtake? I think he's getting lapped actually, so he pulls this side. You
can see that Sauber, I think, has damage. He's struggling with the rear end. Does that have damage?
Yes, I think it is front nose cone damage. You can see there the front nose cone's completely bent out of shape, so I think he's gone straight into the wall somewhere. I'm not sure. Did you see that accident earlier on?
No, there's nothing here saying that he had an accident, but he must have had contact during the beginning, maybe spun off by himself. We now follow the battle for third position then. The last position on the podium, Fred Bodden's right onto the back of Callum Knighton. We've seen these two battle last year as well for positions for first and second mostly it was, and not third place, which is really pleasing to see. It's Fred Bodden trying to get a good exit out of this final corner for a run down. No DRS this time in the mod, so it's going to be a little bit harder to overtake. Will he have a look into the inside of turn 1? Just can't get the move done. You can see Tom Martinez starting on the medium tyres. He's up into 5th place. That's an incredible start from him as well, and he's actually in for a shot of a podium definitely if he's going to be on the soft tyres at the end of the race.
Yeah, he can definitely challenge for a podium if he just maintains his tyres. If he doesn't crash, he can definitely challenge for it. I think he's got the pace. He's sticking up with these two battling right now, and obviously these two are going to be losing time, using different lines to defend and attack, of course. But going to be interesting to see how this battle turns out. You've got two very quick drivers here in the Mercedes and Ferrari. So do you think Callum will be able to hold Fred behind?
Well, Fred does seem to have the much better pace here at this part of the race. Callum's struggling with the rear end of that car, and it seems like he's actually locking the brakes a lot into specific turns. Fred's going to have a look to this high-speed chicane. Is he going to go for a move round the outside? That would be amazing if he can pull it off. Cal just has the inside line, so he won't be able to get past. Callum, although still struggling with that rear end through the high-speed chicane, it looks like the Ferrari seems to have a better setup around here. Fred trying to get close for the end of the sector, but just as he gets a massive tank slapper out of turn 13, I don't know if he'll be able to get close now at the end of lap 8 to get an overtake move done.
I think he's kept close enough. He's not lost too much time with that. I think Callum didn't have a very quick last sector, and that allowed Fred to stay close to him. He's definitely in the slipstream of Callum right now, so I don't think he'll be able to challenge for a move down to turn 1, but if he gets a good exit out of turn 2, he could possibly get a good challenge, and Callum's actually ran wide there, and that's going to allow Fred right up alongside Callum. Callum's striking to the inside line to defend. I think Fred's going to try and move around the outside if he's got enough speed. He just braked too early there. I don't think... No, that's that move gone. So I think Fred just didn't take enough speed through to turn 3, basically.
Yeah, it seems Fred, as he gets loose once again, is pushing right on the limit of his car here. He's going to be shoving it up into boost mode 1 and trying to get past Callum with all of the tricks up his sleeve. Is he going to go for a move here into this right-hander? No, he's coming down through the gears, trying to get a better exit. Callum's still suffering with oversteer out of the slow-speed corners. Fred's going to have slipstream though up to this high-speed chicane. Will he go for a move round the outside? Not close enough. Going to go for a move up into turn 13 once again. Getting a bit loose on exit, so that's Cal got too far away once again. Fred just seems to be struggling with this dirt air in this track.
Yeah, dirt air definitely has an effect on these cars at the moment, and I'd just like to point out that the front two are pulling ahead because these two are battling. The front two aren't really battling at the moment, they're sort of just following each other around. Sam's not really gaining, and Craig isn't really pulling away, so the gap's staying consistent about a second and a half, but the battling between these two is definitely damaging their prospects of the race. Do you think they'll actually be able to challenge the win at this point in the race?
Well, you can see here, Craig Batchelor has pulled a 2-second gap to Sam Carpenter, so it's roughly stabilising around there. I think these two drivers are just sitting back, waiting to make a move at the end of the race. You can actually see a Sauber, so they're coming up to lap the first person of the race, which this pace is really, really good from the two front two. The gap's almost 12.5 seconds to third place, so if they continue to battle, I don't think it will be possible for them to even have a chance at first and second.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think they're losing maybe a second in the second half just because they're battling. Obviously, I think if that carries on, they're actually going to be maybe a pit stop behind because it's 25 seconds as their Sauber span on the middle of the track. That's Richard Taylor. I think he just ran wide at the exit of the fast chicane. Is that turn 13-14 there?
Yeah, you can say he's really struggling in that Sauber. They've not had a good day. Jacob Majewski, I think, is actually retired and pulled into the pits, so that's one less driver we have for this Grand Prix. Richard really struggling to get to grips with his car. He is a newcomer for this season, so don't expect him to be right up at the front to begin with. And he's just lost the car on acceleration and into the wall. I don't think he'll be able to continue.
I don't think his engine's running anymore. He's pulled off to the side of the pit entrance, so that will definitely be him retiring for the end of this race. But on board the battle here between third and fourth, Callum Knighton and Fred Bodden in the Mercedes and the Ferrari. I think Fred's gained some time on. Is that just me, or has Fred gained some time on Callum on this lap?
Nah, Fred is definitely closer as we make our way into turn 3. Callum's still locking up the brakes as he runs deep. Will that allow Fred for a move round the outside? Just still not close enough to hang it round there into turn 5 and 6. You brake hard for this one. A lot of G's. You can see the cars flying through there from the offboard shot.
And coming through like turn 5 now. If Fred gets a good exit here, he might actually challenge into this corner. He's definitely very close right now. He's going to look on the outside, maybe even try and move around the outside if he's got enough speed. He's looking to have a move around the outside. I think he's still there with Callum, and they're going to be going side by side into the fast chicane now. Going side by side. Who's going to brake first? I wonder who's going to brake first here. Callum's got the better line, and he's actually gone straight around the outside. What an incredible move there by Callum. And I just wonder how he had the levels of grip there to actually go on the outside of Fred.
Yeah, that was balls of steel there from Callum as Fred goes for a move down the inside. Really incredible braking there from him as Callum now holds the inside line. He's got the racing line as Fred's off the track. Can he hold it though? He can into the penultimate corner. Locks up as Callum holds it round the outside once again. Seems to have much better grip on his tyres. I wonder if he's not wore them out as much, because Fred seems to be struggling out of corners, but he's still going to have a look down the inside here into turn 1. Will he be able to outbrake him? Seems like he has the racing line. Fred's got the inside, but Callum's going to go for a move round the outside here, holding it. Fred gets a bit loose and exit. You can see Callum's actually got the race position. Fred's going to go for the cutback to the inside, to the outside now. Callum locks the brake. Both of them do it as Fred goes for the cutback. Is he close enough to hang it round the outside this time? He's going to go for it. There's contact between the two, and that's Fred off the track. What do you think of that there then?
I think it was just a racing incident between these two. They've been basically side by side for the past lap and a half, so there's no wonder that there's actually contact in the end. I think the stewards will just look past that, to be honest. The two are definitely fighting each other very hard. I think Fred's actually going to go up the inside here. Is he going to brake late? No, he's not. He just backed out the move there, but I don't think the stewards will be looking at that instant too seriously. I think they'll just overlook that, to be honest.
As you said, the front two are going to be pulling away and increasing their gap to these two behind even more with this battling, and it's going to be hampering their tyres as well, so the front two are going to be really pleased with this. The gap is already 17 seconds, which is an incredible gap to say the least. We're only 12 laps done and they're already over a second a lap behind.
I think, but at this point in time, the leaders could actually pit and almost get in front of these two drivers, because it's about 21 seconds for a pit stop, so the leaders could pit anytime they want, and we're definitely in the pit stop window at the moment. These soft tyres will be starting to go off at this point in time. Fred looks down the inside there but backs out. But that's the first pit stop there from Tom Martinez in the Mercedes. He'll probably be going on to the medium. That is the usual strategy. He comes out.
He started on the medium tyres and he's just went on to the softs, I think. But that seemed like a really long pit stop to me, and that from the Mercedes crew.
It's a strange decision, to be honest, to pit that early, especially if you started on the mediums. The mediums should last maybe 17 laps to 19 laps, and this race is definitely a one stop. But going on to the softs, it's not a very smart move going into the softs, considering there's 17 laps left.
I don't think those softs will actually last 17 laps. He's going to be on a knife edge at the end if he's going to try and do a one stop, unless he's got a two stop planned. That's a really weird decision from him, but we're on board with Fred Bodden now, still running in 4th place, and this battle still continuing, losing so much time though to the guys in front. Fred Bodden just not close enough to make a move here into this right-hander as we go now under the bridge, braking hard for the penultimate corner. You can see Callum really struggling with the brakes, and as well as a lot of drivers in fact around this track. They seem to be really struggling and locking up in the same corner, so I wonder if these drivers are in fact punishing their tyres from locking up, because you see the tyre was not too bad, so are they pushing the brakes to maybe increase the tyre temperatures or brake temperatures to maybe gain an edge on their braking? What do you think?
I think these cars reward drivers who are smooth on the brakes and the steering and the throttle. Smooth drivers tend to do better in these cars, to be honest. Obviously you can be an aggressive driver, but you can still be a smooth driver. But if you're throwing the car around, obviously you're going to degrade the tyres a bit more. But we're seeing Kieran Shadwick here. This is a replay. I'm not sure what happened here. He's coming into the last sector now. He's gone a bit too wide, and he's actually span it there. He's just gone to the curb, and I think he smacked the wall as well, so he'll have suspension damage, but is he? I think he's retiring from this race at this moment in time.
Yeah, I don't think he can find a gear. It seems like his engine is actually stalled and he can't find a gear. Hopefully he can and get that car going. But I think that may be him out of the race, and that'll be your 4th retiree. That's a shame. You can see Zesty's flying past, going up into 7th place. So that's Kieran Chadwick out of the race then, and that's a shame for him. Max Shepard trying to drive a recovery drive here in 8th place, so he's managed to overtake the Sauber you can see in the background. So Jacob Majewski hasn't actually DNF'd. You can see him there in the background. I think that's him being lapped for the first time.
I think
from
Majewski's been lapped by Max Shepard. I think he was running in 10th or something. He got lapped by the leaders and he was running in 12th, so I'm not quite sure in the positions here, but there's been a few drivers who have been lapped and a few drivers who have retired, so it's a bit of a mix-up. But Liam Mangan's coming into pits now from 5th position in the McLaren, coming into his pit box now. Will he have a good pit stop? And I think that was that a good stop?
That looked like a really good stop from the McLaren team. He's the first of the top 5 to make a pit stop, so I wonder if he'll be battling with anyone as he comes out the pits.
And that's the Mercedes driver. Is that Tom Martinez, or is it?
That's Tom Martinez, and that's for position. You can see Tom Martinez is onto the back of Liam already. Maybe that's what the undercut was for, what Tom was going for. He's going to go to the outside. He's going to be on much hotter tyres, and he's just held it round the outside there. Easy move in the end for Tom Martinez. He's promoted up into 6th place, or 5th place, that anyway, and Liam Mangan's down into 6th place now.
I think it just shows that the temperature, like the importance that temperature plays in these tyres. Well, you can see Liam's already dropping back from Tom, and Tom's on warm tyres. As the race leader pits, Craig Baxter's into the pits for Ferrari, and I think that's a relatively good pit stop from the Ferrari team, actually, at about 3 seconds, same speed as Liam's pit stop. Obviously, if you've got damage, your pit stop will probably be a bit longer, but I don't think Craig definitely didn't have damage. He's not been involved in any instance so far in this race.
Now, you can see he's in 2nd place and he's onto the medium tyres now, so these tyres will probably be slower on the outlap than the softs will be on the in-lap, so it's going to be really close between Craig Baxter and Sam Carpenter, as Sam Carpenter's on a flying lap right now, lighting up the timing screens. You can see Callum Knighton's actually gained about a 2-second buffer to Fred Bodden behind, so I wonder if Fred Bodden's had a really bad pit stop.
He might have come to the pits far too slowly. He might have not known which line to take into the pits, and that might have hindered him a little bit. But it's strange to lose that much time in the pit stop unless you've got damage and you chose to repair it. These two were right next, close to each other, so it's very strange for Fred to lose that much time.
Yeah, Sam Carpenter then, you can see sliding out of that corner, pushing as hard as he can, getting all the life out of these tyres. He's now coming into the pits then. Will he be able to jump Craig Baxter? He's now approaching the high-speed chicane at this point in time. Sam Carpenter, really good pit entrance. He's locking his brakes, getting the most time gained. And will it be a really good stop from the Williams crew? We'll be able to see here.
Going to need a good pit stop from the Williams crew to overtake Craig Baxter. You might see Craig's car. That's the other Williams of Max Shepard coming through the last corner now. But you'll see Craig Baxter's car coming through any second now. The Williams passes and Craig's car is in the background. It's going to be very tight coming into turn 1 now as Craig turns in, and Craig's right behind the Williams of Sam Carpenter. He's got a wider line through the corner, so Craig's right behind him. And will Craig actually manage to try a move around the outside of turn 3 now? He's definitely looking at it on warmer tyres. He goes right around the outside of Sam, and that is him up into first position. So it worked out perfectly for Craig there on undercutting Sam. I think, yeah, it just worked out perfectly for Craig.
Yeah, it seems like he had the same sort of plan as Tom, because Tom Martinez actually pulled the exact same move on Liam Mangan the lap before, and effectively Craig now has the lead of the race, and you can see he's behind the lapped car, or going to be lapped car anyway, of Max Shepard. So Max Shepard's really damaged limitations this race as he lets the two leaders through. Sam Carpenter seems to have lost a bit more time though. Craig Baxter's managed to extend his gap, so he's going to be
You've got to remember Sam's on cold tyres, so he's not going to be that quick this lap, but next lap he will be definitely quicker because of the warmer tyres. On board with Fred Bodden in the battle between 3rd and 4th now. He's got a good run coming out of that corner now into the fast chicane of turn 13 and 14. He had a look down the inside, but decided to back out. Not really enough room go down the inside there, but these two are still battling after 16 laps, which is surprising considering it's been for more than half of the race.
You can see Callum lock up as he's ran off into the gravel. Fred Bodden up into third place. Callum's finally shown a chink in his armour, and you can see he's really struggling with that car on the medium compound. He almost ran off the track and into the wall there, so Fred Bodden's finally passed him on lap 16 of the Grand Prix. Callum then, will he be able to retaliate in a move in the next coming laps? You can see he's definitely lost a couple of seconds to Fred. Fred now will be able to see if he can catch the leaders. The gap's currently 19 seconds out in front, so he's going to have to drive the race of his life if he wants to catch those guys out in front.
We're on board with Tom Martinez here, coming through the first sector. There's a bit of debris on the track, and he's coming through turn 5 now. He's locked up, and he's gone straight off the track and into the wall. And it's
I don't know if he had damage on the front of the car prior to that incident there, because if you had a look before, you've seen that he had damage to the front wing. So I don't know if he'd been off previously, but it looks like his engine's actually cut out.
Yeah, his engine stopped. You can see on the dash there's nothing on the dash, so that is his race over. It says the Marussia of Zesty coming into the pits now. He's got front wing damage as he slides into the pits, locks up his tires.
I don't think he's got a front wing at all on that car.
No, I don't think he does. The front wing of the Marussia is black, but I can't see one. No, there isn't a front wing. So I think he's coming to repair the damage. I think he was running in front of Max Shepard at the time of that.
That's a really slow stop.
That's a really...
Yeah, I think the team are calling it. I think that is Zesty's out of the race then.
Yeah, it's a very slow stop. Usually it's 10 seconds to repair front wing damage, around about that, but it seemed a bit longer than that, to be honest.
Yeah, Zesty's definitely unlucky for that one. He was running well in 6th place, and you seen he struggled to enter the pit lane as he came in sideways in like a full-on drift. So I wonder if that car has more damage than just the front wing, maybe being off and hit the wall and damaged the engine, and they're just saving the engine for the next race. But anyway, we're on to lap 18, and Craig Baxter's leading the race. You can see Sam Carpenter's definitely closed the gap. It's currently 0.8 of a second, so he will be picking up slipstream here as we go through the high-speed chicane for the 18th time of this Grand Prix.
These two are still battling, so it's a group of 2 and 2. You've got these two battling, Craig Baxter and Sam Carpenter battling up in front, and then you've got the Mercedes and the Ferrari battling behind, who are Cal Knighton and Fred Bond. They're also battling behind, so it's 2 groups of 2 cars here, and this battle doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, Sam Carpenter getting really close to the edge of the grass there as he comes around the final corner. Sam Carpenter getting slipstream from Craig Baxter then into turn 1, still too far back to make a move. As we go on board, you can see how much he's pushing. He uses second gear for stability into turn 1. That's an interesting gear choice, as you see most drivers actually using third through there, but maybe the heavier fuel as he brakes massively late, incredibly managing to slow the car down there as he understeers out wide. It seems that Mercedes, or Williams Mercedes anyway, has got a lot of understeer in the set.
Well, you're going to remember that he's behind the dirty air of Craig, and he's actually closed up a bit in that corner. So it's a mix between dirty air and slipstream. You're going to be gaining on the straights such as this one and the next, where you're going to be losing time through almost every corner because of how effective the dirty air, how bad the dirty air is, especially this fast chicane coming up here.
Yeah, Sam Carpenter losing time on the traction zones throughout the lap, it seems, as we go on board with Liam Mangan. He's just been racing on his own for the entire race. Started in 4th position, is now down in 5th. Lost a few positions off start, but he'll be really pleased with being able to hold 5th position, considering the faster drivers and the actual drivers who won the test race are now no longer in the race, which is surprising to see. Hopefully we don't have any more people not finishing the race then, as Liam Mangan is just on his own. Big gap to the car in front and big gap to the car behind. So as Tom Martinez DNF'd, he gained that position, and he's just running in front of Max Shepard as we see him come around the final corner here to start lap 20 for him.
I think it's been a relatively boring race for a few drivers. Max Shepard especially, he was involved in that incident at turn 3. He didn't actually decide to pit after that incident. He didn't have very much rear wing damage, but he just decided to stay up. I think he did spin, or maybe was it lap 3 to 4 or something like that. He spun at the last corner and that damaged his rear wing. So he decided to pit after that. So he's on very old tyres actually. I think he pitted for mediums on lap 4 or something like that. So
Do you think he'll
very
be
early.
able to make them end to the last lap of the race anyway?
I don't know, to be honest. The tire wear isn't that great around here. It depends if he makes mistakes, but he doesn't have to push too much at the moment. He can just save fuel, to be honest, and rely on people retiring at this point in time.
Yeah, Callum Knighton then in 4th place. You can see Fred Bodden's pulled out a 5-second gap ever since overtaking him, as he's struggling with the rear end of this car, sliding and squirming everywhere. He's on the medium compound tyre and they're only 5 laps old and he's already struggling with the rear end of the car. It seems like he's been struggling with that since the beginning of the race, after an incredible start that moved him up into podium contention, but now he's running in 4th and can't seem to get anywhere close to.
It just seems that the Mercedes of Callum there, it looks very difficult to drive, like more difficult than it usually would be, because he's braking and the rear's stepping out. You might see here, he doesn't lock up too much there, but I've seen on some corners, he's locking up into corners and the rear end's just kicking out, and then upon putting on the throttle, the rear end's kicking out again. So it might be that he's pushing too hard, or that the rear end's just not there in the car.
Yeah, Craig Baxter still leading then on lap 21. You can see Sam Carpenter's getting extremely close. The gap's now down to 6/10 as we go under the UBS barrier. Once again, Sam Carpenter must be eyeing up a move then before the end of this race, trying to get the lead so he can control the last few laps of this. And he's still not close enough to make a move into this right-hander. And Craig Baxter seems to be struggling a little on these tyres, I think, or maybe even fuel.
I wonder if he's saving fuel at this moment in time. He might be low on fuel. He locks up there, quite a bad lock up into the second last corner of the lap. But he's lost a lot of time to Sam, so I don't know if it'll be tyres, because the tyre wear isn't that bad, and he's not been on the tyres for very long, less than 10 laps. So I don't think it's tyres. It might be fuel. He might be saving fuel as he runs very wide there, and that might allow Sam to get right up behind him. But yeah, I don't think it's tyres. Probably more likely fuel.
Yeah, Craig takes a defensive line into that corner, locking up his brakes once again, so Callum Knighton's not the only driver having issues with brakes. As Sam Carpenter's now only half a second behind into this corner, will have to lift off due to the dirt air, but into turn 6, braking and going downhill. That Williams looks really, really stable through there, as Craig Baxter seems to be struggling under braking into a few corners. Sam Carpenter's even closer now on lap 22 into this right then left-hander, flat out down this long straight. He can't seem to get close enough though for a move into the high-speed chicane.
I think he's just going to try and put Craig under pressure, to be honest. He's just going to try and force Craig into pressure, but he gets a big tank slapper actually coming out of the fast chicane, and that lost him a little bit of time. But looking back on Fred's car, and you can just see the gap that he's built between himself and Callum. You can see Callum in the top of the shot there, and I think it's extended to about 4 or 5 seconds possibly, so that the gap's been extending ever since Callum made that mistake.
Yeah, we follow the battle for the lead though, and it looks like Sam Carpenter's got close. He's going to go in the slipstream of Craig Baxter, going for a move round the outside. Craig Baxter takes the defensive line, trying to hang it round the outside, although Craig Baxter's forced him onto the curb. Managed to hold position, but that's been the scariest moment of the race for Craig Baxter. It looks like he's really struggling to hold on to this lead, as Sam Carpenter runs wide, pushing as hard as he can to get the lead of this race.
Yeah, I think that move that was very, it was legal, but it was aggressive. He's allowed to shut the door. But it was good racing between these two. I think it's actually the only time when the second time when these two have actually been racing wheel to wheel. Other than that, it's just been the two falling around each other. But yeah, it's probably one of the most heated moments of the race so far between these two, other than when Sam came out of the pits.
Yeah, it seems like Craig Baxter's managed to pull a gap though. I wonder if that saving fuel has actually paid off for him, and now we can put it up in a boost mode 1 and just drive as quick as he possibly can, as Sam gets loose on the exit of that corner, losing time in this final sector. It seems like Craig Baxter's the strongest in the final sector, especially coming out of the final corner. He seems to gain a lot of time, which has not allowed Sam Carpenter to get actually close enough to make a move into turn 1 or turn 3, just too far back once again. As you can see, it seems like Craig Baxter's last sector's definitely keeping him within touching distance of taking his first win of the season.
It looks like it's also interesting to point out the different driving styles. It looks like Sam's actually throwing the car around a lot. It might be dirt air, or something like that, or maybe that he's pushing too hard. But it seems that Craig at this point in time is that he's driving much more calm than Sam.
Remember Sam Carpenter, this is his first race in this league, and it's his debut, and considering he's up there fighting with people who have raced last season and people who have won, and the fact that he's so close and he's already beating someone on the caliber of Fred Bodden and Callum Knighton, and he's actually driving faster at this point in time than Craig Baxter, is really impressive for a debut. He'll be looking to win though. He's definitely not going to be happy with second. No one is. As he actually chooses fourth gear, then shifts it up to fifth for this corner, which allows more stability. You can see he's closed down the gap on Craig Baxter as they go under the Cantas barrier. You can see he's braking much later as Craig Baxter still seems to be struggling as Sam Carpenter's getting really close throughout this last sector. But watch as Craig Baxter will pull away in these few corners.
I think these two are they're choosing different gears through some of the corners. I think Sam, he's gaining through the third sector on some laps quite a lot, and I'm not sure if that's because Craig's inconsistent, but he's moving to the inside there, Craig, just to defend his position. A little bit of lock up into the first corner, and that's going to allow Sam a very good run out of turn 2, and he's going to be right in the slipstream. He could try a move down the inside here if he brakes late enough, but he decides not to. Craig sits in the middle of the track just to defend, and he's gone very slowly through there, and it's allowed Sam to move right up behind him.
Yeah, Sam Carpenter on the gearbox now of Craig Baxter as we go into turn 6. Will he be able to make a move down the inside? Still not close enough though as we go around this long sweeping right-hander now. It's just Sam Carpenter can't seem to get close enough out of the corners, maybe because of the dirt air, or maybe because he just doesn't have the traction on exit to get past Craig Baxter.
The slipstream just doesn't seem effective enough to close him up to Craig, but I think, is that Freddie? Did he hit the wall there? Or he seemed to have some instance, but he actually span. He's locked up. He's span. Can he stop the car in time? He's kept the engine running.
He's spinning the rears there. Is he able to? Yeah, he's able to get it running.
Callum went past there, but I was... did you see what happened there with Fred? We might see a replay soon, but I'm not sure what happened.
It seemed, as you said, I wonder if he hit the wall at the beginning. He seemed to get it under control though, and then just ran wide onto the grass. I don't know if he hit the brakes in the grass and the rear end just snapped, or if he actually may have a problem or damage with the car.
But the rear brakes just seemed to just completely lock up going into turn 5, so that's why he span. But it was weird. He might have overheated the brakes.
That's going to allow us in for a really good ending though, because Fred Bodden was driving 0.8 a lap faster than Callum previously to that spin, so if he hasn't damaged his tyres, which I hope he hasn't, just for the sake of good viewership, he might be on the back of Callum before the end of this race, and we might have a battle for the lead as well as a battle for the podium.
He's definitely the pace advantage over Callum this race. Callum's been struggling to drive the car, but it'll be interesting to see how in the last 3 laps Fred can actually close up to Callum. And especially with this battle out in front, to see if Sam can actually close up to Craig in front. But do you think Sam has the pace advantage over Craig at this point in time?
He seems to be going faster through the first sector, but in the last lap, Craig Baxter's actually pulled 4/10 in the middle sector alone. So I don't know if Sam Carpenter's maybe struggling with fuel as we go on board with Fred Bodden. You can see he's already closed a 1.5 second gap as he gets loose on the exit of turn 6. You can see he's already getting closer to Callum Knighton here, so definitely faster as he brakes much later, swinging the car in second gear. It still looks like Callum's struggling with the rear of that car, and now that the tyres are going to be more worn, Fred's definitely going to have a chance to get past him here.
Especially with the slipstream coming up, he's going to get very bad dirty air through here, but Callum's actually gone wide, and that's going to allow Fred for a move down the outside, will he? You have the speed to actually carry off a move, and I think he's actually completed the move before the corner. So it's just a mistake from Callum there to let Fred pass. I don't think he'll actually be able to challenge Fred again unless Fred can make a mistake in the last sector. But Callum's gone wide again, so Callum's having a lot of problem driving this car. He's got oversteer and understeer, as well as the brakes locking up a lot.
Considering he started in 14th position, I think at the beginning of the race, if you asked him if he would finish in 4th would be good for him, he would say yes, but considering what's happened within the race, a podium was definitely on for him. So I wonder if he was maybe caught up with the incident in lap 1, as you said, when he got past. Do you know if he had any contact with any of the drivers?
I couldn't see if he had any damage. He might have got through it cleanly, or he might have got caught up, but I don't think there was actually too many drivers involved in the turn 3 accident. I think it was just a McLaren, as Callum gets a very big tank slapper there. I think it was just the McLaren going straight over the back of the Sauber, and that was about it. And then the Williams spinning, but I don't think there was any drivers other than that getting involved.
It just seems like he's really struggling with the car still, and the tyre wear getting worse is also going to make it the actual driving of the car worse as well. So Callum's going to be really struggling for the last few laps as Fred's beginning to pull away. But we now go on to the penultimate lap of the race. Craig Baxter's ran deep into turn 1. It's allowed Sam Carpenter a slipstream move into turn 3. Will he go to the outside? Craig Baxter's going to have to hold the defensive line as Sam Carpenter locks up the brakes, trying to go late, but Craig Baxter takes the defensive line once again, placing his car in the middle of the track well, and it's just not allowing Sam Carpenter a move past anywhere on this track. He seems to be the faster driver at the moment, but he just can't find a way past.
We're definitely on for a showdown here. Sam's definitely up the pace in the last few laps, and Craig's also made a few mistakes. Sam's got a very good run through here. He's right on the rear wing of Craig. Is he going to try and move down the outside? He's thought about it, but he just didn't have the speed to carry through there. But he's going to have a better exit than Craig coming down here. He's decided to actually move to the right instead of the inside. He's on the outside of Craig now as Craig sort of shuts the door. He's sticking in the middle of the track, so he's defending extremely well. But do you think Craig will actually manage to hold on to this in the last lap of the race?
Well, both of their tyres will be worn at this stage now. Sam Carpenter still braking much later as we go on board with Callum as he loses the rear end and into the wall, and I think that's his rear wing gone, so he definitely won't be able to continue. Yeah, that's him definitely out of the race as we go on to lap 29 of this Grand Prix.
It's a shame for Callum there. He's running extremely well in 4th place, so I think he'll still be classified, but I think Max Shepard will pip him in the race. I think Liam Mangan as well. I think he's running in 5th at this point in time. But Sam tried to make another move around the outside, and they're still very, very close in the last lap. It could go to any of these two drivers. We're not quite sure who's going to win this yet, but it could go to any. I think Sam went a bit wide there, and he's gone in the dirt again. But will he have enough speed to actually get a good run on Craig here? He's thinking about it. He's got a good slipstream coming down to this corner. It's now or never for Sam Carpenter. He thought about the inside, then moved to the outside. Coming down to fast chicane, moving into the possibly last point where Sam can actually overtake. He's got a good run now on Craig. He's gone to the outside. They're running wheel to wheel, and I think there's contact there actually between the two drivers. I think they bump wheels a little bit.
Yeah, Sam Carpenter's still going to have an opportunity at a move though into this corner. The final chance where he could go for an overtaking move really late on the brakes and almost hitting into the back of Craig Baxter. Losing the rear end though, and that I think is the chance of him winning the race. All but gone now unless Craig Baxter spins the car, which is highly unlikely. Unlucky for Sam Carpenter then. Tried his hardest to make a move into that corner, just couldn't get the move done as Craig Baxter comes across the line to win in Melbourne in round 1 of the Nebula rFactor 2015 Championship. P2 goes to Sam Carpenter though. Really stellar job from him, but unable to take the victory as Fred Bodden a mere 38 seconds behind. I think he's just been coasting ever since Callum DNF'd out of this race. It's a real shame about him crashing. He's going to lose quite a lot of points actually. Instead of finishing 4th, he will finish in 6th position, which is unfortunate for him. But Fred Bodden, after a horrendous turn 1, is going to come across the line in 3rd position. I think he'll be happy with that considering what happened, but definitely going to be coming back for Barcelona, which is his favourite track, next time out. Liam Mangan in 4th position, coming across the last sector for the final time as well. You can see he's struggling with the rear end of the car still, but 4th position is where he started, and 4th position will be where he finishes. He'll be really pleased with that, and it's a really good job from him and the McLaren team to get him up into 4th position. Maybe a bit fortunate due to other people DNFing, but definitely he'll be happy with that. Max Shepard, you can see, crosses the line 2 laps down in 5th position there. That's 1 lap down, sorry, in 5th position there. And you can see he'll be happy with that as well, considering the start of his race at turn 3, where he may even have DNF'd. So then we move on to the final classification from the Australian 2015 Grand Prix. After 29 laps, the standings looked like this. Craig Baxter took the victory in 43 minutes, getting himself 25 points. Sam Carpenter finished second, only a second behind. Fred Bonnin third, only 42 seconds behind after lifting and coasting at the end to save fuel. Liam Mangan in fourth, Matt Shepherd fifth, Callum Knighton 2 laps down got classified. We move to the people who didn't finish as well, all those down to 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th. But Jesper Drelika, the Lotus Mercedes, actually got disqualified for leaving the pit lane too early. Driver standings after round 1 then, it's the same as the race classification. Craig Baxter is leading, Sam Carpenter second, Fred Bodden third, Liam Mangan fourth, Max Shepard in the Williams in fifth, Callum Knighton the last point scorer in that race, so he has 8 points. All the rest of the people downwards did not score any points, and it goes with the same from 11th to 14th, and the people from 15th downwards couldn't attend the race, so they obviously didn't score any points. Hopefully we'll see them in the next race. The constructor standings then, Ferrari have actually got a 12-point lead already, which is interesting to see. The Williams have 28 points, the McLaren have 12, Mercedes are the last constructors team to score any points either, which is surprising as well, because you would think more teams would have finished in round 1, which is quite sad, but hopefully next race will be even more exciting than this one. We move on then to next race is going to be at Catalunya in Barcelona on the 16th of May. We hope to see you for that race as well, because it will be 33 laps, 153.62 kilometres and 16 corners. We'll hope to see you for the highlights of that Grand Prix.